Salute guys, that's out to back with another public service announcement. Back with another public service announcement. Hey! Gents, and you guys are feeling good this morning. Salute Caps, that's the 021. Guess who's back one time, and it's the PSA podcast with Mr. Maya, of course, and y'all. Bruh, we turning it up, we changing the game, we bringing you something fresh, something that you haven't heard before, something that we bring into your screens, to your house, into your granny's house, into your mother's house, all the way to your phone screens, wherever you're at. Welcome to the PSA podcast, Mr. Maya. Bernie Pass is what it is, my brother.
How's it, my man?
How you doing? Are these things good, my brother?
I'm so happy to be here.
I feel like, you know what, for lots of people who don't know, I had this conversation with you years ago. I don't know if Luke sent you the...
I don't know if it's... Yeah, you said you spoke about it.
In 2000 and... Was it 16? I think I could have messaged you in 2016.
Yes.
The movie obviously came out way before that, but I know in 2016, this was the time I was actually taking note.
Correct.
I was not being radio. I've been on radio for about 10 years now. And I was like, you know what an inspiring story. When I say inspiring story, also if I look at all the South African movies that were obviously made after that, I still feel like Dollars and White Pipes was the blueprint.
Thank you.
To
a
lot of movies that came out after that view. I mean, obviously we had the Four Corners, we had all those things, but Dollars and White Pipes is like the OG of Cape Town or South African filming and giving you an inside look as to what was going on.
Yeah, I think Dollars and White Pipes just sort of got the ball rolling, really.
Yes,
kicked the door open. We had to fight a lot for. Well, Dollars and White Pipe was definitely the. That was the catalyst. It all started.
That started all there, yeah.
And then at 2009, we'll get to that part. In 2009, I had a fight with SABC, and we won that fight with SABC for colored content.
Yes.
So we took off Noord for Noord, and I produced a show called Color TV.
Color TV.
It was supposed to be Colored TV, but we massaged the name a bit, so called Color TV. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I should check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, they only made us do 23 episodes. We didn't do they didn't want to renew it because it was too on the nose for them.
Too on the nose.
Yeah.
So I mean, now like what some of the things you were discussing in there?
But you know what it is, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
The thing is, our people. I don't know what it's like now, but our people were not ready to hear. Awe my bro and we had in the actual show. I depicted like a newsreader had no front teeth.
Yes.
So the worst I got was actually from my own people, and we thought we were going to platform.
What was some of the feedback? What were they saying about it?
Brother, threats. Hoe kan sy ons mense so laat lyk en ons is nie almal so nie.
Yes, we get
exactly, but that is it's a subculture in this country.
Within the culture, yes.
And that's why it's such an admiration for you. Let me just make this about you. That you stuck to your language, like look at even Luki Laxman.
Yes.
The way he raps, it's English and then he vernacular, and then it's like, it's like I come from the Parkers and I can
You know what? Because if I go back in time and I look at it, and but by the time obviously movies like that you guys are doing it already existed.
Yeah.
But we were still in such a I'm gonna say the space that we're in, it was almost like it was almost frowned upon to be who you are.
Correct.
And I'm not saying be who you are. It's okay to be uneducated. No. And again, because the thing is, I don't want to equate your culture to like miseducation or things like that. But I want to say is like my art obviously is a reflection of my reality.
Correct.
So this is what I see on a daily basis. If I'm going to visit my aunties in Mitchell's Plain, if I'm going to my cousins in Q Town, if I'm sitting with my friends in an Park, I know what I'm going to see on a daily basis. Everyone, we know it's obviously not like it, but the daily life and the types of conversations that happen around you that you can see and bringing that to light and highlighting and showing that, you know what, that's not all just it's something that happens along the way. So that's something to be celebrated.
Correct,
also, as much as and we obviously know the system was created in such a way that people were put onto the Cape Flats. There'd be cheaper education, not the same amount, higher dropout rates, unemployment. Yes, we all know, but that's all created a beaming culture that I still thought it was okay to be part of because I know it and it's home.
Correct.
You know
it's a little melting pot, And
as much as people are gonna look at it like, oh, but that is like, but whether you want to say it or not, it exists, you know. And why should the people who don't know anything outside of that feel ashamed to be that?
But it was weird because the hate we got from our people. Wow, I say our people. It's like my own people. Let me say that it was unbelievable. It just demotivated me, and deflated me. So because we worked so hard when we went to SABC, we wanted to start a class action suit against them because there was zero colored content at the time. And we won it. And And I was like so proud. I was like, yeah, my people are going to be happy now that we're going to
finally have something that's going to be connected with you.
Parodies. We had a parody of the news and a parody of this, but we had like Ismail reading the news and stuff like that. But they hated it. They were like, nah, you can't. We also had the proper, like the rah-rah, the Oakse rah-rah. They were talking rah-rah as well. But they focused on, nah, man. They can also depict it, which I understand. But yeah, they said this is how we platform in colors, and people are going to think we all are like that.
I think maybe we should have had a disclaimer out in the beginning. Guys, everything I'm going to show you is a depiction of not the whole color denomination, but just a section, a subculture within the section that I find quite amusing and watch it. And
you think it would have changed?
It would have changed, I think, maybe, because the thing is, if I also go way back now, I tell myself this, I used to be an avid watcher of news and reading news content, and then whenever I saw somebody that had to represent, let's say, the brown people of South Africa, and they do an interview in the community, it's always somebody that I feel is ill-educated to be speaking. Then obviously I'd be angry, and I'm like, but that's not how we all speak. Because I could come on and be an academic if you had you asked me those same questions. However, it's also the reality of, no, I'm not going to say the common man, it is the reality of a good percentage of Cape Townian South Africans living inside ghettos, that's the response you're going to get. However, not everyone.
I think people couldn't understand. Like you're making reference to the news.
Yes. That happens today still.
Which is serious
that happens
content.
Now still.
But if it's parody, then why get upset? You know, it's like we're skiing gat now. You know, but yeah, in any case, that was.
Look, but now, even if you look at social media today, like I promise you, if you should drop something like that now, remember it's a different world right now. That thing would work now.
Yeah, I've heard.
People who jump on it. However, I don't think we must get away and think that you're still not going to get hate. Because that essentially is part of this thing right now.
So now when it's in Claremont, they're going to hate me.
It's fine. And you know what? And then you need to, then sometimes, like I used to tell people, then maybe it's not for you. And it's okay to have your opinion about it, but the thing is, you aren't obliged to watch it.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Move on.
Like people tell me, I don't like your content. I don't like what you do. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I think it's the dehumanization of colored people, and the way you're being misclassifying people is absolutely atrocious. I said, okay, I got you. And I said, thank you for that. However, I could probably speak the same way you do, as well as your mom. That's the doctor as well. But that's not the demographic I'm trying to penetrate with what I'm doing. I'm trying to penetrate a different, a whole different demographic of people that understand what I'm talking about. You aren't that people. So consider me to be a butcher shop and consider yourself to be a vegetarian. Sy moenie in die fucking plek visie. Jy friet blare, ek friet vleis. And I'm doing this for the people who like meat as well. So, I mean, what I was trying to say is maybe it's not meant for you, and it's okay for it not to be meant for you.
Yes, correct.
So what I'm saying is maybe you could have gone back and do it in any case, you know. Even if they had haters, like it's fine. It comes with it.
Last night I was with Donovan Marsh. Donovan is probably one of South Africa's most prolific directors, and we were talking about doing some it's just I'm far away right now, but yeah, I think the landscape has changed a little bit. People are slightly more open-minded, you know.
And you coming back into Cape Town, into South Africa, man, what's it been like for you? Obviously, because I know once you travel, it obviously opens your brain up to so many different things, and you realize how small or like maybe not your community is, or like where you from versus the world. It's like a drop in the ocean compared to what you see now. So what's your take on it all?
I'll start that off by saying traveling is the antidote to ignorance.
Yes.
That's how I seen it. When I decided I was fortunate enough in 2001, I got sent to the Emirates, and I lived in Dubai and Bahrain and stuff for 2.5 years. And that was my first real exit out of the country, like out of like that far away. And that firstly opened my eyes to different religions. Because then I went over to Saudi, and I was like, wow. First I realized how much the Muslims drink over there.
Where's this?
In Bahrain.
In Bahrain,
No, it's like here, the Oaks are still, and they're like, listen, we can still follow, but we have seriously, I was like surprised.
Yes.
I mean, number one. Secondly, I realized that we are not so different after all. Do you know? The difference is very minimal. So this is what media feeds you in this, feeds you that, and your brain is so set in this particular way. And when I got there, I was like, wow, eyes open. Wow, that was lekker. That was first to see the religion aspect of it. Because you go there and you think it's going to be radical. Yes. I met better people there than I did in Hanover Park.
Okay.
I made lekker chommies there. When I came back, then I stayed here for a couple of years. The movie was released. And then
what was the official year that movie dropped?
2005.
2005.
Yeah. And then,
And now, tell me what into cooking that movie up? I mean, where did it come about that this movie was going to be based upon?
I went to...
your experiences, yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk about the experiences now, but how it happened was I went to Johannesburg kicking and screaming because there's a Kaapenaars and I'll say if you were Joburg, I was like, nah. But then I had to go open the Premier Piatti over there. We trained up 2 of the first franchisees.
Okay.
And then we were going to open one in Joburg. And I was the one that drew the short stick to go sort of babysit them. We went there. It was a very successful one. And then there was a TV show that was made called Invent Yourself.
Okay.
I'm not going to bore you with the details, but there was a conflict always between the directors of the show, and they needed silence in the restaurant most of the time, right? So I was kind of the catalyst because I was running the restaurant, and I was the catalyst between them and the owner, the franchisee, and... it was always a fight, and they kind of admired how I managed the process, right?
Yeah.
And then they came to me and they said, like, dude, Jesus, we love how you do this.
How you connecting with people?
Yes, how you connect with people. Where did you study? And I was like, yeah, let's live in my because when in Hanover Park, I got no education. I left when I was standard 8. I went to go live on the streets, or I went to go. I lived in the city, and I sort of educated myself. They're like, nah. Because now these are 2 rara oaks. They're like, yo. So they you must tell us your story one day. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
So you tell them the story. Is this all verbal at the time? So?
Yes, all verbal. Okay. So, but now they're there for like 3 weeks already. I get to know them, So you're pretty comfortable.
Now you can speak. Okay.
Yeah. So one Friday they said, listen, please sit down with us. So I sat down in the restaurant, and we had a bottle. I'll never forget. Bayers Kloof.
Bayers Kloof. Okay.
Drank because now a little bit was now. So yes. Yeah. And then after the second glass, I started talking. I told him, okay, born in Hanover Park, had nothing. Toppie was a radical pastor. He was net Jesus. Forget about the lighties and just, So it was a little bit dysfunctional, let's say that. And then I had a dream. I was like, nah, man. I looked left and right in Hanover Park. I'm like, nah. Brother, I'm not going to grow up here. This is not, I need to escape here. There must no internet where I can watch your escape. So my escape was Dallas, me bro. I had to watch Dallas. I was like, okay, wait, I know there's more out there. And all due respect to the people that are still staying in Hanover Park, but I needed to get out there.
You needed to get out. That was your personal thing, yes.
And then I moved to the city with nothing. I had 35 Rand in my post office account. That shows you how old I am. Yeah. Post office, 35 Rand. That was a lot of money at that time. Maybe that was like 2,000 Rand now, Yeah. So I moved. And then, but I got my first job in washing dishes. And it was I was lucky that I chose this industry. It was the industry that I was really good at, connecting with people. And then you also need mentors. And I met the right person, Bernard Faber. He mentored me, and he took me and said, listen, he was the owner of the place. He said, there's something good in you. So you're gonna, And you know what he did? This fucking bastard.
What did he do?
After 2-3 months working there, he told me it's a Monday night.
Yeah.
The man say, hey, I'm gonna go home, and I'm just working in the kitchen, bruh.
Okay,
just give me the keys.
And what year were we in this time?
1992.
1992.
Yeah.
Okay.
He told me, here's the keys. This is the code. Close up the place.
Okay.
This is the indoor Grand Prix. It's here under the bridge. The go-kart racing. Then the man said, here, take the keys. Now, everybody's out. Everybody's left. I'm young. I'm from Hanover Park. I check here, the money and everything. He said, take the cash when you're done. Just boom, in the safe.
And how long had you been working there at the time already?
3 to 4 months, man.
Okay, so I mean, in his mind, he trusts you, man.
This been there for a while. We spoke afterwards. I mean, we're still good friends. And that was his bet he made with his partner. He said, I'm going to trust this oak. He's not going to run. And his partner made a bet with him.
And you're going to run?
He's going to run.
Yeah.
He's going to take it. So they were prepared to lose that, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever, 5,000-6,000 Rand. I mean, that time was, the cash up. And I didn't. I locked up everything and So he was playing me also because he saw something in me. And that's why you need those people in your life.
Yes.
You need that mentors. You need to get that gap, you need good people.
Now listen, would you say the movie is a perfect depiction of the actual life that you?
Yeah, but there's some things you can't say though, as you can well understand.
Yes.
There's some things you obviously we don't want to incriminate certain people,
yes,
myself included, and so yes, but it's like making a cake, you know, you throw a little bit of masala, not a masala,
yeah. Icing sugar, some flour,
yeah. You can't even. I remember Donovan Marsh, the director, told me that, you know, you can't even take Nelson Mandela's life and just record it and put it on. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
You need to.
Are you trying to tell me there's lots of elements that were obviously taken out?
There was, yeah. Well, from the actual story,
yes,
there was a lot of elements that we couldn't. We couldn't, you know, because...
And how did they do the casting? And how did, Clint Brink jump on?
When this is so good because this was all of their first feature films.
Yes.
And we had a few people in mind for the lead. They wanted me to play, but I was too good looking to play there because it would take away from the story.
From the story, okay.
You know what I mean? So they focused. So no, we did the castings, and they kept me in the process throughout. So Anand Singh, great guy. I mean, you know, he did Long Walk to Freedom and stuff. He produced the movie then, but he insisted, him and Helena Spring, that I should be part of the process for authentication. So I became associate producer, and I was there from the start, and they wanted me to be there during the audition process.
Okay, so were you part of it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had to. So when we started the auditions, I had to sit there. It was very weird because then. So now let's say we're going to do my dad.
Yeah.
And then Oaks will come in and then they would say, okay, is he anything?
Is he
like,
the one?
Yeah, is he like your dad? So they still had the final choice because obviously that acting chops you need, which they can see.
You have to have the skill.
Correct. Yeah. But I look at the mannerisms and say, okay, well, he looks
like
my
the
dad.
vibe.
Yeah. So we Clint, Donovan wanted Clint. He's like, listen, I know Clint.
Let's do Clint. Yeah. Was that Clint been busy with backstage at the time? Had that come out yet, or was that only after?
I think he was still. He was doing backstage.
Still doing backstage at the time.
Yeah. That's backstage. This was his first feature film. And Dollars and White Pipes. If you go to Joey Rashdeen, Christo Daniels, all of these guys, that was their springboard.
I saw Christo talking about it the other day. I think I saw something just pop up.
Yeah,
he was talking a little bit about Dollars and White Pipes.
Yeah,
and also the name of the movie. I mean, where did we?
It was called.
Look, I understand what the Dollars and White Pipes are, you know, but I mean, how was that chosen to be the name?
That was this I think the 6th title. So we started with. Obviously started with Bernie. That was I remember. Then the next one was called The Cream.
The Cream. Okay.
You must know if you leave a whitey to come up with, he's going to do that.
The Cream.
The Cream. Then it was Cream. And then it was, we settled on Dollars and White Pipes because I always used to tell him, because I took him into the Gatte and I said, yes, it's all about the stars and stripes, dollars and white pipes. That was the Americans used to say that. That was mos hulle ding gewees. Die Atsas het mos stars and stripes, dollars and white pipes.
Yes.
But that time the Americans was most enemy when I was in Hanover Park.
At the time.
Yeah. So he liked that saying, and he said,
Dollars and White Pipes.
Yeah.
And now it's like one of the most, I'll be honest, I got on and said one of the most iconic South African movies.
Yeah.
If you had, to have a look into someone's life, but also the overall around story of elements that still exist today.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more crazy because someone could watch that movie now and somehow that would still resonate with someone today.
Are we?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now also just going back now, this is my conversation.
Yeah.
In terms of making that movie, right? Did it work out for you on the financial end? Like did you see the...
I was listening to your conversation.
Yeah, so that's also something.
Yeah. And I was listening to another podcast you had with some guy talking about you got to make the pennies. I have a different view on that.
No, it's fine.
In the beginning.
And we open to it
in the beginning, because what I did was when I signed on the dotted line, I had nobody to tell me do this and do that and do that. I just had to go on faith and trust. What I saw was, hey, here's a mal opportunity for my mensa to see this. And
look, it was a different world at the time, which I understand.
So I got money out of it. 150K. But I signed over everything to them.
Okay, but you obviously knew this was what
yes,
you were doing.
Yes. I knew that was, and I signed over everything to them. It was either you want to do it or you don't. I didn't go out shopping for another producer and another producer because the script won. We put the script through the 600 and something scripts, and that came #1 in South Africa in 2002. Okay, so that's why the script was always going to be there. If we wanted to go and search for a producer outside the country, we could have gotten that.
Yes.
But when Video Vision came, I said, fine. They said, look, we don't have a lot of money. We're going to do it for about, I think it was like 4 million or something. And we're going to, I said, go for it. They said, look, we can only afford this.
Yeah.
But for me, I saw the bigger picture.
Was that the budget for the movie?
Yeah, just 4.5 bar.
But 4.5 bar, okay.
Yeah. And it was, I saw the bigger picture, man.
Yes.
I saw that the legacy, my legacy, would be depicted. It's going to be on this. It's going to be something.
Yes, forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? I tell you what. Where's my money? I'll tell you where's my money. Emails. Till today, 20 years later, or 18 years later, once, two, 3 times a year, I get an email or I get a text message on WhatsApp. Or not WhatsApp, Facebook.
Facebook.
Hello, Bernie Baatjies. This is so and so and so. I just want to let you know I was so inspired by your movie and blah blah blah. Now that, my brother, you can't put a monetary value to that.
That conversation we had nothing to do with you. Obviously, it was a different time, and I mean to see how much that is still. I mean, because also, like I said, I would say it's the blueprint for me. For someone that is an avid movie watcher, growing up and watched all these kind of films. And I think for me, it was hard. Watching so many movies, even growing up and trying to. I kept comparing the movies to that. It doesn't matter what came out, whatever South African film which had the element of gangsterism, drugs, whatever. And I'll be like, okay, it's a good movie, but dollars and white pipes. You know what I mean? And still today, it's.
Don't you think it's maybe just because it was the first?
I don't think it's because of the first, because it's not just that, because it's also
how it was shot.
I think it was shot in such a way that you could really connect with the character, and you see him go through this whole change. And now, this is another conversation I want to have with you. Is that now when we have South African films, right? When I say Cape Coloured films, and I'd be honest, it annoys me that that's always the narrative.
Yeah, correct.
I do understand that it's the reality, but I would go out on a limb and again say that we need more positive South African movies and positive stories. Because I know people that have, number one, have never grown up in ghettos, right?
Yeah.
And they're just like the normal, ordinary school-going person. Or maybe they have this certain set of struggles.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm giving someone the keys to the kingdom. Make a movie out about someone who's just going through dealing with having parents that are fighting.
Yeah.
In their house in Newlands or Claremont. I'm not saying it just has to be that. Or let's say, let's go to Crawford. Or let's go to even to Lavendale. That actually come from a good home and that are unaffected by the gangsters.
Send those stories.
You know what I mean?
I can make that happen.
Okay, we have to get on this. Let's get the movie.
Send those
I'm gonna write the script, maybe really.
No, listen.
I'm writing this.
Like Donovan Marsh is right now probably South Africa's best director.
Yeah.
He's looking for stories like that. We had this conversation. I was with him last night. And we don't always need to do that. You're 100% right. It's because we've now got new stories to tell.
We are
yes, our stories that time when I was up, I'm talking about the late 80s, 90s. That was the only stories we had. Reality. Okay, the Oaks from Fairways and the Upper Claremont, they grew up. We were all, the 90% of us grew up on Opiflakte.
Yes.
Verstaan ze?
Look, this is something, I'm just saying something off the top of the head.
But you're right.
Imagine we had a movie about the Trojan Horse Massacre.
Yeah.
And about those lighties. What's with Michael? And just as I'm making an example. So those are things that happen. Imagine that was depicted as a movie and we could actually see what happened with the Trojan Horse Massacre. Or we had the Soweto uprisings. That wasn't here, but now we remember people in like my dad's like what, 68 years old now. No, my dad's about 68. And if he tells me some of his stories of his younger years, in spite of for the struggle and things, let's say that's what some of the stories. There are so many stories that are left out.
Of course.
And there's so many things that you probably went through. Imagine those kind of stories also. The gangsterism was also a byproduct of the struggle. And obviously people struggling, that kind of started. But
there's no paper in that.
There was story. You know these stories.
But now you go with that to a producer. And then you got the ook with the geld. You say, hey, bruh, listen, I've got a good feel-good story for you.
Okay.
He's going to look, he's going to crunch the numbers, he's going to say, who's going to buy this?
Okay.
You see, he's going to go, who's going to buy this? So you need to massage that story so that there is.
Are you trying to tell me that the prerequisite for a great movie has to have some gangsters and violence?
Not from me, not from me, but from the consumer.
From the consumer,
from the consumer point of view. Why? I mean. You know, the sex, violence, they want to see that.
Yeah,
right?
Skopskiet and Donna.
They want to see that.
That's like, yeah.
So you are honest when you're saying that. And I can honestly tell you, I know some really good stories we get. But there needs to be a villain. There needs to be a, you know.
No, but then this is why I need to have this kind of conversations. Because now it obviously makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
By you telling me this. Because I would say this is the kind of story I want. But who's going to pump money into something that might potentially not do as well as that one does?
Correct.
And it's the same way. Like when I'm a study journalist. I study journalism.
Yeah.
When you study journalism, then one of the big things they tell you, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, of course.
So the reason behind that is that if the story concerns blood and death, that's probably going to be the main story you run with.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because people want the gory stuff.
They want it,
They want
it's weird how we are as humans, eh?
Yeah.
We want to hear these nice things, but we
give them the feel-good story. So Pamela grew up on the lovely streets of Crawford. She used to go to Sunnyside Primary. From there, she went on and lived her life. You know, in England, where she became one of the best ballet. Like, weet je wat, Pamela? Fuck, waar je jouw story. Ik wil wie van Patrick. Vanaf die pad. De kakkie dat je gegaan. High story. So now I get it. I get it. However, I'm gonna say if I was a wealthy enough investor, I would invest in much more positive movies. That have a different narrative.
It's just Mr. Mayor, it's just unfortunate.
Yes,
it's unfortunate, but we're making small inroads and small steps in it. Where I can help, I will help. I come back. I've still got my little soup kitchen in Hanover Park. I'm still trying to do it. It's little drops. Like I can't make big changes, you know. But we try. We try to put back and stuff. So those are all good stories. But that's not going to be. It's not going to work if we want to platform it. You know, what's going to go viral? What's going to?
And so, like, I mean, obviously, you don't come from the time when social media was a thing, right?
No.
I mean, you come from the mean streets, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you grew up on that time to where it is right now. Do you feel like we have an opportunity to do different stuff, given the platforms we now have?
Of course. I think you, especially, I mean, but it's so cutthroat out there. You know, one day you can be famous, the next day there's somebody else can just, like you were saying, hit a hammer and an alien, and that's popular.
That's popular,
you know? It's just so cutthroat out there, you know. And the kids are doing weirder and weirder things just for that hits and that views, and that's scary. That is scary. But
look, and for me, if I think about myself, I've been watching different social media stuff for many years. I mean, I had been there on the start for South Africans getting into social media, and I was part of the whole transition from the block phone into like, I mean, you obviously came before that, but I'm just telling my journey.
Sure.
And if I look at that to how much we have changed, right? I also know that again, Americans had been doing this years before we even got here.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about the social media thing and the videos and the viral videos kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we only kind of get in there now.
Yeah.
Versus to stuff that was happening 20 years ago.
Correct.
And now if I look at it and I see, like you say about someone can become famous overnight and become better than you, or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's why it's so very important to have solid business outside of this thing.
Correct. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. I don't think. I mean, you have to be either a Logan Paul or these guys to throw everything in your hat there, right? I mean, you'll be dumb to only do that and only depend on your hits and your like. I would have been dumb to go and like, okay, that's my movie. It's out there. I'm going to wait for the royalties only.
Yes,
I was cupping on with whatever. It was nice in that time, and I went. They flew me everywhere, and you went to. Whether it's Amsterdam, and
you toured with the movie, everything. Okay, nice.
The movie went to we won in America, won Best Director, or in Amsterdam Film Festival we won, Montreal Film Festival we won. So it was well accepted around the world, you know.
So they kind of felt that same thing too.
Yeah. No, they did, because it's a story that it's relatable.
Do you still have a copy of the movie?
I do. I think I do. It's. But it's online. I think you can get it on the ETV VOS or VIS or whatever. Yeah.
Did they buy some of the rights to stream it?
They bought the rights. But what I did again in the beginning, ignorance. I was ignorant. They were like, okay, sign here. We'll take all the rights and we will from here on to perpetuity. And I was like, gooi, sign. I didn't. After a couple of years, when I realized what I did, I was like,
now that's why I like this conversation. Yeah. Like, if you could go back, would you have made a different decision?
I would have. I would have negotiated more. Let's say that. I would have negotiated more. When they came to me, I was very happy with, like I said, the legacy that will be there.
Yes.
I was like, okay, cool. Now this is cool. And when the amount was there, and I was working. I had a good income. You know, I had a really good job. And so for me, when I saw that was like, it's okay.
So I take it. Yeah.
Plus now you see what comes with that, the glamour. And it's like, and it's a 5-star hotel there, and you fly here.
So it was pretty nice under the circumstances.
Yes, you know, you know. But again, like I said, I got no regrets because I see what's happening now. I see what the kids that still send me, well, older guys now that send me messages saying, listen, it changed my life. I saw that, and I was like, okay, you can. Because you see, the thing is, people need realistic role models.
Realistic, 100%.
So back in the time, what is the role models? Okay, Mr. Mandela came out and stuff, but it wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
They needed to see faces like them, you know? And I thought it would be great if a lady from Hanover Park can say, yeah, hij moet Baatjies lady, man.
Baatjies, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I can also do this. And that was my idea by... and the idea was actually, and I'm happy with it. Again, a little bit of regrets maybe that I should have negotiated better, but yeah.
No, I just was pulling up this. I was just pulling up these messages.
Yeah.
I dropped it to you. I told you this was about 2016. So I said, amazing story based on your life, sir.
Yeah.
You remember this? And then you said, thanks, bro. It was an exciting ride. The thing we call life. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. I hope it could inspire you just a bit. I said, indeed, I watched it years ago when it was released. A few nights, I watched it again after all this years. I understood it much better now than I did when it came out.
Yeah.
Because the names, places, drugs, and story all make sense now. And the kind of things that happen to you still happens today.
Yeah.
He said, my only motivation for agreeing to the film, my story, so that it would try to inspire people in the way that help making good choices. My people from the fleet, sir.
Yeah.
And I think it did exactly that.
Yeah.
Did your parents and siblings? What was their response to this movie? Did anyone ever say, "Moenie jou kak praat nie"? That wasn't how it was. Or what?
No. There was, I think, only a third, a very small part of the movie was Hanover Park.
Yes.
So it basically just depicted why I left there. Squalor and there was nothing. So I didn't. My mother. It showed my mother. My mother was very caring and loving. The dad was completely focused on the church. He was just completely focused on the church. So you didn't. I'll never forget this one day when my dad didn't even know what standard I was. I don't know. They say grades now.
Yeah.
So the sisters in the church, Pastor, what standard is burn? And he looked at me and he said, ek weet nie. What? And he asked me. That stayed with me, just to show what kind of
yes.
So I depicted him. I'm making that example because I depicted him like that in the movie.
In the movie, okay.
As a not caring.
I didn't want to keep the scene of the pins on the.
Yeah. I was kakstout.
Okay.
Jesus, I was naughty in church.
Yeah.
In church, they couldn't stop me. I wasn't like that. I did anything that you can do. I would do. I'd turn the water off. And then to stop the church. And I was like, yeah.
You took all these stuff, okay.
Yeah. When I was a lighty. So I grew up in the church. We had, the house was like right next to the church. Right, attached. So I was in of one late slaap. It's a Sunday morning, then you hear, Jesus, and And I play drums in the church also. So,
okay, so you did that as well.
Yeah.
So, and and obviously in the movie I see you. The movie's called White Pipes. Dollars and White Pipes for a reason. White Pipes, remember? Mandrakes.
Yeah.
Tell me, the early days of Mandrakes in Cape Town. Let's go back to the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
The huge influx of Mandrakes. How did that change your community? You were around to see it.
Terrible, man.
Yeah.
It is a terrible drug. I can tell you, my brother is still stuck there. I feel like a failure because I haven't helped him. I do offer him everything I can, but he's just, it's a rut for him.
Yes.
He needs to, you become your environment. He's really become his environment. He's just many years in jail and nice art. And I really feel like a failure every time I come back just trying to help him. But Mandrakes is the worst thing that could have happened. I hear the epidemic with tick and stuff, but Jesus, that was... So what I did was I stopped school. My dad didn't even know I was in school for a whole year and every day smoking buttons. But what I did was I made zip guns for the gangs. Because I had to use a little bit of this,
Are you going to make some bucks here as well?
Yeah. So I made zip guns for them. A couple of guns went horribly wrong, brother. They stand so skieter langs aan jou. So it was, So that's why I used to smoke every single day, me and Angelo Poggenpoel. I think he means it.
Is Angelo Poggenpoel still around?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to find him. The last I heard, he was on the street begging. So,
hopefully if you watch it, baby. If you catch it, Angelo, he's trying to find you, bro.
Please, brother. If you're around. So yeah, and I used to smoke, but it's such a stupid drug. All it does is for like 2-3 minutes, tasting it. I don't know if you've experienced it or had people that are just telling you're just gone.
There's
and I just say, weer op, I will say, now, Tik is maybe different. Tik makes them gives them a little bit more energy. Same demon.
Looks, and then I mean, this is Cape Town, and the people, the two kind of go together. They complement each other.
Is it?
So the mensen moet die tik eers, so now they're high, and now to come down, they start the mandrakes, and then it's just like, and then it's like a constant thing. So you keep doing the one, so you can do the other.
Yeah.
So you do the one, do the other.
How do you stop that cycle, brother?
I don't know. Look, they say rehab helps. I would say, besides rehab, what people need is some sort of self-discipline that they need to source from something much deeper than their flesh, which takes a lot.
Yeah,
I would know this. I mean, I've got close friends, family, relatives, and I've seen what drug abuse does.
Yeah.
That is what I can honestly go back and tell someone once you in a certain element of doing drugs, to get out of it, it's very hard if you don't have.
Remove yourself.
I don't know. It's like it's something that you need to source, and I don't know if it's something from above or.
Yeah.
But it's really not easy.
No.
Drug addiction is bad, and then this is one of the reasons I would tell friends of mine or people that I know is like, my bro, I know I can't tell you what to do. Like we had a conversation before this.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about you, and maybe it's not my place to be concerned about you. But I know once you're gonna get deep into this. The further you go, the deeper you dig in the hole down.
It's hard to come out there,
some
brother.
People never come back.
Nah, that's my brother.
Some people never come back. You know what I mean? And I've got friends now. If I go visit them from the old neighborhoods I grew up in. I grew up in lots of neighborhoods in Cape Town.
You're in Woodstock, no?
I live in Woodstock now, man. But I mean, I lived in Mitchell's Plain. I lived in Athlone. I lived in Crawford. I lived in a lot of places. But anyways, I got to spend a lot of time in all of these respective neighborhoods. And now sometimes I go back, and you always go back because you have this nostalgic feeling about the place. The bricks look the same. Or some parts, it's still the same. Is there still a tuck shop here? You come there, then those friends that I grew up with now are bona fide gang members. They go to prison. I got all my friends from one of my old neighborhoods that are now all begging. Like not all of them, but I mean a big bulk of them are on the street because of drug abuse. And they see me, my bro, it's a nuxie. And it hurts my heart because I still want to help with, and I still have a conversation. They're like, my bro, but we grew up together, my bro, man. And that could go two ways. Number one, they could be happy that you made it out. Or they could be like, denied, don't quite know.
Well, they know what this. When I came back, that's why in the movie, if you see in the movie, you get that sticky where Angelo come to me with Christo Dennis.
When you get you on the street and you see him.
You must know, So, that's a hard one, Mr. Mayor. That is a hard one because I was so emotional the other day when I drove to Hanover Park and I saw this lighty on the side of the street. He was about 10 years old, playing with a plastic bag and a stick that he just picked up there. My bro, I got so emotional to think that that's me. Now, I got paper, I got business and I'm thinking, how is he going to get there?
Can I get there?
You know what I mean? And I look around in the environment and I check, nah, man, how? And then I feel blessed to think that, fuck, I did it. No, not. And again, I'm not excluding myself from, but but I actually took my opportunities and I said, I made the right decisions, right?
Look with it, but also as us, I think we mustn't also take away the credit from the hard work you put in, man. Like don't discredit yourself to sit well with other people and how they feel. I know it's easy to offend people on the way, and you obviously mean nothing, but maybe you worked fucking hard. And there's a lot of things that you had to say no to, and a lot of things that you had to pull yourself away from, and that took a lot. I can imagine what it must have taken. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you the hardest thing. Now we're gonna go deep now with some stuff that I'm gonna be very careful how I say this also. So when I went into the city, I became big. Not big, I was, okay, so now we were sorted again. I got a nice job and everything. Then I went south again. I hit that distract button. So I went into the clubs. And I was involved in a club called Browns. So I was involved with the groot meneer of this town. Okay, they're not there anymore. And we sorted this town out to make it... when there's a ou op elke corner, then this, you can't buy there your goedes en dan gaat hulle hier en as a bakleierery. So what we needed to do was umbrella the city. To get everybody together. So there was one boss in this town, all right? And we ran the city. That's what made and then it was elke dag skittery and so on. But after a year, this town was like, there was only one where the goodness was coming from, one spot.
Yes.
All the clubs had security. So it was cool. There was no fighting. No, it was lekker. But it was a hard life, my bro. I was 5 nights of the week. I used to go to bed at 5 in the morning. And then I'm high like a kite. Then I must take a tablet to fall asleep. Then I must wake up again.
And obviously, considered in the movie, it was cocaine, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was hectic.
Do you know what the cocaine even looks like now?
It must be mad, no?
Like you took, I mean, this was your life was like early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah.
Early 90s.
Yeah.
It's a different world out there. It's accessible to every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Nah.
It doesn't matter where you're from, you have access to it. I know this, you know.
That time you couldn't do the coke was, there was ecstasy was everywhere. I remember how a turnover went down in the club when the ecstasy just came in. We were making liquor porn, right?
Yeah.
And then the ecstasy came in. Bro, the sales on the bar just went like a zoom. But now we didn't need 4 security anymore. We only needed 1. But the mensen soen mekaar.
And they're rushing their tits off.
Nobody's fighting. Nobody's fighting. I was sitting the whole night by the door. I had a long, it was a short oak like this. We didn't need any security anymore.
Yeah.
And to Duncan said, fuck it. We must
start selling this thing as well.
Yeah. So we must, so we took over that market. Because otherwise you'll die. How are you going to pay how are you going to pay your DJs and how are you going to, so keep the lights on. So we did that. So
look, if you look at that movie, and I mean, obviously your life experiences, things that you went through, if you could go back, is there anything you changed in your life?
I wouldn't. There were some near misses. I'm
talking about nothing to do with the movie. I mean, your life in general.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. You know, now I've got a beautiful family. I've got a 4-year-old lady. Was it? Thabo Mbeki that said, "You're not born in Africa. Africa's born in you." Right? So Africa's still here. Norway is my home now because my mochi and my lady is there.
In Norway.
Yes.
And how's the Norway life though? By the way, like I've never been.
7 months. You welcome.